What would you like to ask?
What did you really learn about your team after South Carolina? What are you guys going to take into that playing Auburn?
Well, we learned a lot about their team and about our team. We learned that we can play with South Carolina. But the difference is being able to play and being able to finish, that's two different words. And what we've got to do is figure out, we gave it our best shot in the first half. We made the game just like we wanted. We wanted a low possession game, and we wanted to get it to halftime, and hopefully when the offense was in front of me, we could execute a little bit better with our sets due to their crowd and everything. We had the shots, we didn't execute the sets, and we hardly, because see, stats are misleading. It says we got 13 offensive rebounds, but when you're shooting 28%, some of them are going to bounce to you. So it doesn't necessarily mean you went in and dominated the boards or anything like that. So stats can be misleading, particularly on rebounding. But where my team is, we realize without making the excuses, we played the top 3 teams in the league probably already on the road. Now, what can we do about it when they start coming to us, LSU and South Carolina? What can we do about it when we're playing the Floridas and the Auburns and the teams that we're supposed to be better? Well, supposed to means that's a bad way of thinking about you're not supposed to beat anybody. You've got to go out on the court and get it done. And we just hadn't lived up to it. There's no excuse for the talent. There's no excuse for missing a few players because of COVID. Everybody's done that. But we will always have enough to play, and we have to do a better job of executing, and particularly in the offensive end. And that's my job.
You also have a few A&M connections on the Auburn coaching staff. Can you speak to those relationships a little bit?
It's just part of the history of this program with Johnny Harris, who was on the national championship team and was just dynamite. Every place she has touched since she left here, she's helped rebuild Mississippi State into a national power. She went down there with Coach Schaefer to Texas and built that into a national power, Elite 8 team last year. And Mississippi State missed out on probably not hiring her right after Vic left and took Texas. I think she probably should have got that job. But Auburn was smart enough to come after her, and they've hired a very good young lady, outstanding recruiter, and a very good coach. She was smart enough to come steal from me, get Coach Starkey, who sort of wanted that area of the United States to help finish his career. She was able to bring Demetra Buchanan in, a former player, a good coach. And she brought Jen Jones, strength and conditioning coach, who's outstanding. She's been with me 15 years as well at Arkansas and A&M. So you don't see, she never coached with Starkey while she was here. Starkey came after her, but when you're in the SEC or in that area, you know where the good coaches are. You know if Jimbo loses a coordinator, he's going to look at certain places that are used to the style that we play. You do not necessarily hire all friends. That's the worst thing you can do. Definitely not family members. You hire people that's going to make you better, that's going to give you something that perhaps you don't have in your inventory as a coach. There's a lot of things that I'm missing, so I've tried to find people to take up the slack to help me. But it's going to be fun. They'll be coming in today. Hopefully they will be able to see some of the events that we've got planned for tonight, tomorrow afternoon, but they'll feel at home. That's the main thing. I want those young ladies and Coach Starkey to feel at home, that they're welcomed anytime they come back.
What's Jordan going to do to play better, Gary? Nixon, what's she going to do to play better?
Quit wearing it on her shoulders as much as she's wearing it on her shoulders. And she's had a pretty good fall, and she's leading our team with voice, but then she's wanting to put the voice sometimes does not take the place of the actions. The actions take that extra work in the gym, the confidence, just you and the ball, not necessarily given the verbal leadership that she's given every day. And even when she's on the bench, she's given the verbal leadership. Sometimes you've got to find out yourself, what do I need to be a better player? Does she need more confidence from me? Does she need more film work with me? Does she need to probably quit listening to all the outside voices that we all hear due to social media and opinion gate and everything like that? Can you just listen to yourself? Self. Can you look into the mirror and say, what do I need? I'm the one that put myself in this mirror. I look at it every day. What am I good at? What do I need some help with? What coach can help me on this area? And I just think that's a little bit of the world that these younger people can do. It's probably not a word that we use all the time. She just needs to chill.
What about Auburn's coming in? They've had a couple tough losses, so what's going to be the couple key matchups in the ball game when you look at who's going to win?
Help me pronounce Marissa, their leading scorer's name, for I won't butcher it. How do I say it?
It's Koulibaly.
Koulibaly. Cool or Kamabali?
I think it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, K or C-O-U. Cool. Okay.
Well, she's playing extremely well. She's our matchup that we have to stop, just like we tried to stop Smith at Florida. But we had no idea the kid that hadn't been playing all the time, Broughton, was going to come off and light us up like she did. So sometimes you put too much emphasis on one kid. You better take care of yourself first. But I think that's the most important thing. We've got to limit her shots. It's sort of like Horston at Tennessee. Horston is going to take 15 to 18 shots a ball game, sometimes over 20, just because she can elevate, get over you, and take the shot. What you want to do is limit the makes, and that's what we're trying to do with her. Limit her makes by making her shots a little bit harder. Put a hand in the face instead of a defensive stance like this, a defensive stance like you're taught to do, to not give her that wide open look. And then you start playing, hope they miss defense instead of make them miss. And that's where we've got to do a lot better job. And then you say, well, Tennessee only shot 35%. They only shot 28, but they hit the shots they needed to hit in the possession in the second half. When they made 6 threes in the second half, they did an excellent job. So Auburn, both of us are 0-4. How do we get out of this hole? We've both been in it before. Now how do we get out of it? And it's not words, it's got to be actions. So I can't give some great quote or something I pulled back out from 10 or 15 years ago and said, let's do this. It's just got to be work and accountability.
Coach Blair, Jordan Adams, KX News. So, have you seen anything in practice these last couple of days that would suggest you and the ladies are getting back on the right track, or you can't really judge until you have another opponent against you?
We do not want to forget what has happened in those 4 losses. We want to have a shorter memory, but we want to learn off of a loss, not point a finger at a player who didn't perform or point a finger at an official on a bad call, or I gave the wrong offense, or we didn't continue. It's just going back to work. It's the SEC. It's going back to work. All that can be reversed. All 3 teams that are 0-3 in the away column have lost. And I forgot who the one above Auburn and us, but all 3 of us lost 3 on the road. And you got to stop the bleeding. You stop the bleeding by knowing you're going to have friends and family and former players around you that have seen the best of Texas A&M, the very best of Texas A&M, and they're all going to be sitting in those stands watching us. And is that pressure on us? It isn't pressure on us. It's also a relief that they've been through a lot of the things that we've been through. So as former athletes, they're going to be able to see, is she moving her feet? Is she moving? Is she asking for the ball? Is Jordan putting it right in the pocket? Or do we have a rebounder like we've had in the past that can go in and get the rebound and finish? All those things we're trying to use. We're trying to use every motivational thing we can, but at the same time, we're going to use the mirror first, fix what's in the mirror, and get better.
And then last question for me, you talked about Coulibaly scoring. Obviously, he's one of the best in the conference, but what other things have you seen from the ladies over in Auburn that maybe have you and your staff a little bit worried? And then maybe what's one thing that you think that you guys will be able to take advantage of tomorrow?
Auburn has been known for their defensive teams over the last 7 or 8 years, and they'd play a style. They were going to turn you over with their press. They're not quite doing it as much now. They have more balanced score, and she's trying to run more of the dribble drive offense that they ran at Mississippi State for so long that Texas is now running. So she's running a different type of offense that Auburn has run in the past. She's trying to shorten her rotation while she's working on rebuilding this basketball team. They're out on the road recruiting hard, already have signed some good players. She's doing what it takes to build a program, not trying to necessarily win a championship in her first year. She's building a program, and that's where you should be. She's trying to find the small victories in a game, okay, and then hopefully get the end result at the end. And I give her a lot of credit. I give their staff a lot of credit, but it's A&M for me. I'm focused on A&M. I love being around all these former players and administrators and coaches that are there, but you get a chance to kick the old boss, you're going to do it. And that's why we've got to be ready to play.
Any other questions?
I got one. In addition to the reunion game and everything going on around that, the We Back Pat stuff going on tomorrow, is that something that coincides with the reunion, or talk about just what the We Back Pat stuff means?
Well, it's not because of the reunion. It's the week that they always put in January, February. They're hoping that you have a home game during that time that we can all go back and honor the legacy and everything she built, not just for Tennessee, but for women's basketball. And that's the most important thing, is just her legacy and us as coaches trying to live up to what she brought every day. It's no different than a Vince Lombardi, a John Wooden, a Pat Summitt. I mean, those are our idols. Those are the ones that have made us all better. And now, if we can help raise money to help some of the problems that she passed away on, that's our job as coaches. That's our platform. Just like Jimmy Valvano has his platform, Pat Summitt has her platform. That's her giving back to the game and giving back to society, and hopefully we can solve some of these medical things that have gone on that sometimes there's not a solution.